Okay, so let's take a look at how you can create Debian virtual machine on Azure. So what we're going to do is we are going to log into Azure portal and then we will find virtual machine. You can find it in services easily in front of you, or you can check the menu, find virtual machine and go here. Now here you will be creating a new Azure virtual machine, right? Out of that there is also preset configuration, there is also Azure Arc virtual machine option and Azure virtual machine solution, right? Out of that just create the simple Azure virtual machine. It will take you to another page, right? Now here you can read through some of the details, right? So here we will be choosing our resource group. We will name our virtual machine, let's say Azure Debian, right? Then we can choose the region, choose which is available, then available options, no infrastructure currently redundancy required. Still we can choose availability zone and go with 1. There is a security type which in my case is set to standard. I don't want to change that. Now the important part. Here you have a lot of options to choose from for images. You have Ubuntu Server, SUSE, Red Hat, Oracle, and finally Debian. This is what we need. You also have Windows options. So if you want to choose that, well and good. In my case, I will just stick to Debian 11. Right? Now things will immediately change once you select any specific option. For example, I selected Debian, then it changed my region to Asia Pacific because that's closer to me and it also happens to be free service eligible option. So all the options related to that immediately changed. Right here you also have Azure spot discount, which I have no idea how works, so I will not be selecting that, right? So the thing is, the spot discount is basically unused Azure capacity at a discount rate versus pay-as-you-go prices, right? So currently I'm just testing this virtual machine, so I don't know if using spot discount would be a good fit, but if you are doing any let's say release related for your virtual machine, so you have app that you will be releasing and hosting through this virtual machine, then in that case the best option would be to choose spot discount. Now here you will notice that you have size to choose from. Considering you are choosing the free service eligible, there won't be any other sizes available for you because it will take you to paid options, right? So go with 1 vCPU 1 GB memory, right? Now for admin account you can see username is Azure user, don't forget that, right? So Azure user is your username. Then ask Azure to generate new key pair for you. You can name your key something like Azure Debian underscore key. It will be stored with that .pem format along with this name, right? So you got those options, and next you can do is you can choose inbound port rules. You can choose HTTP and SSH, and all of these options should be good enough for you to go with, right? Here you can also choose public inbound ports. If you select none, there will be only SSH access and you won't be able to do much. So 80 and 22 you need it, and that's how you are going to connect. You can also enable HTTPS in case if you happen to host Nginx or Apache server, then in that case you will be enabling a lot more ports, right? So for now just focus on. Now what we can do is we can review this and move on, right? So it should show you all the available option that you will have to review. So based on the validation results, we will be seeing options. So validation pass, as you can see, 0.8 INR per hour I'm getting charged for this instance. Subscription you can see here. Everything looks okay to me. I can go ahead and click create. Now it will ask me to generate a new key pair. So I will download the key. Here you can see Azure Debian underscore key .pem. So we got this generated. Next option would be for us to wait for the deployment to happen. It will take a bit of time, and all the services status should be checked okay, right? It has to set to green, right? So once we are done with that, we are good to go. And meanwhile I can show you the .pem key. So here you can see .pem key. Then I will go to remove the previous keys that I'm not using, paste it here, right? Now meanwhile, here you can see our deployment is ready. We can go to new resource. We need a public IP address, which we just got it. Now we can go to portables. In partition, I will be using convergence import key. Then choose the key, save private key, and here I will be using Azure Debian, and then .ppk. Also save the public key, Azure Dev public .pub. So we have everything set. Now let's open party. Now I already have Azure, which I can load, right? Or I can delete. So I will create a new session Azure, right? I will remove any previous that are not used. So this is Azure, and I will go here, copy the public address and paste it here. Now I will go to SSH, right? Here we have auth credentials, and we will pick the Azure Debian, correct? Now within data you can add the Azure user as your username, or let it prompt you. Go back to session and save this. Now what we can do is click open, accept the security alert. Now it will ask you about user, so Azure user, and there you go. You have connected to your Debian VM that you just happen to connect using SSH. This party client is one good option for you. You can alternatively also make use of your WSL. So if you want to check that, you can also use that to connect, right? So here you can see WSL instead of party. You can access that lot better and feels native too, right? So it will load up based on my native instance. Then I can use SSH key that I use with party to connect as well. That also works, right? So not sure if LSB works with Debian. So I will try and use LSB underscore release -a, and it does work. So it is telling me it is Debian and version is 11 bullseye, right? So pretty much we are good to go with the setup. Notice that we have connected through party, and if I want to exit, I will just type in exit and it will come out. Few things to note: I added the public IP address. Then next thing I have done is, in data you can set it to prompt, or you can use the Azure user as username, which was given to you at the time of SSH setup. Then in SSH use your auth, let's see where we are, credentials, auth credentials, and in browse option for private key choose that ppk file that we created in your partition and put it here. Once you do everything, then simply save that session and load every time you wish to connect. For example, I want to connect now, so I will load those configuration. Click open. Here you will find that you are now connecting. So I will type Azure user, it will take care of the SSH key and it will log me in. Right now from here I can do typical ls commands if there are any other commands for your application, like sudo apt update, and everything you see as usual. Right, so you have your virtual machine and specific instance for Debian through which you can set things up. Right, so pretty much you are getting things lined up in flow. So let's go through that flow. Okay, so let's come to the home page. Now here, as you can see, I went to virtual machine. There are multiple ways to go to virtual machine. You can search from search bar, you can check in Azure services, virtual machine. Third option is going from your menu to virtual machine. Here you can click on create Azure virtual machines, and then you add the respective details. Choose your image, in my case it was Debian. Choose your size, then SSH key, your username here, as you can see Azure user, then key pair, related instructions, and ports to follow through. Right, once you do that, you have your virtual machine created and you can view its details. Right, out of which public IP address is the detail you need for party. Right, and you will also need that Azure user as username and SSH key that you downloaded, and later you use partition to convert that into ppk file, and then we managed to connect by loading that sort of configuration, and here you see the result. Right, so this is pretty much the workflow for creating VM for Debian Linux on Microsoft Azure. Now one more thing, let's say if I want to get rid of this, so I will be first stopping the virtual machine, then once it stops I will go for deletion. Why? Because going directly for deletion would put a pressure on first stopping the machine, then it will take time for deletion, which would take around 10-15 minutes extra. So if you go through the flow, follow the process, then it would kind of reduce your headache. Right, usually it will take at least 5 minutes for deletion. Very few times what happens is that people find immediate deletion of your VM, but that never happened to me based on maybe my region selection, but this is how it works. So I will be deleting this to show you how that goes. So click on force delete. Here you can see all the resources. You can see the network interface, everything that we are deleting. I will select, I have read everything, click delete.